But as part of our tradition, I'm going to read a passage from On This Day in African American Life in Detroit, courtesy of Mr. Ken Coleman. And on this day in 1956, this is going to be, um, well, a lot of us might remember this. I don't, but I know the day. Prophet Jones, the flamboyant and flashy religious leader, is arrested by city police and charged with gross indecency and gross attempted gross indecency. What is that? Anyway, I mean, he will quickly post a $2,500 bond and is released. It's the third time in 3 weeks that Jones has made the news, according to the February 25th Michigan Chronicle. Jones alleged that a holdup occurred at his posh Boston Edison district home on Arden Park, and that the creditors had confiscated his 3 limousines. Isn't that something? He will later be acquitted of both indecency charges. Jones is the leader of the Church of Universal Triumph, the Dominion of God Incorporated. I was just a very little girl, and I heard of Prophet Jones. You know, they used to talk about it because they said he dressed with furs and all of that stuff. So that was amazing.
3 limos too. Forget that.
Yeah, 3 limos in 56. You know, he was doing something, but people do give to the church like that, you know.
He might
And
have been given to someone too.
yeah, I guess so.
Got him
I
in trouble.
guess so. I guess so. It's interesting because I was watching this documentary on Malcolm X the other night on CNN, and you know he became disenchanted with Elijah Muhammad because Muhammad had all these children out of wedlock.
Yeah.
It's amazing what some ministers had gotten away with. But
Yeah. I never heard of Prophet Jones. But what year was this?
this was 1956,
Oh, wow.
and, you know.
Okay.
But what we're going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a treat for you. We're going to kind of change the setup a little bit because I have Juanita Moore, president and CEO of the Charles H. Wright Museum, and Mr. I have it. Cortez? Yeah, Sanchez. I'm sorry. He's the producer. I had my notes and they just kind of disappeared on me. But we're going to talk to them about a fabulous event that's going to happen here in Detroit, and we're going to talk to them in just a moment. So we're going to fade out. My co-hosts are going to kind of leave me for a moment, and they'll be back shortly because we have some hot topics. I am back with 2 esteemed guests. I have Miss Juanita Moore, and I know you've seen her around the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. She's the president and CEO, and she's just the lady behind the magic. And I have Mr. Sanchez Harley, who is a producer, composer, and engineer. Very interesting. But they're here to talk to us about some great things that are happening. How are you both today?
Terrific. What about you?
Oh, I'm good. You know, the cold weather woke me up.
Yes.
Well, it wakes all of us up, and I think we'll be awake for a while.
So, Juanita, a lot of great things are happening around and at the museum. And when I say around, I mean the aura of things that are happening. It seems like we're hearing more about what's going on now.
Well, we hope so. We're really excited about things that's going on at the museum. In fact, this is our 50th anniversary, wonderfully so. And so we want you to hear more about it. This is Black History Month, of course, and you want to hear more about it.
Well, I thank Drake Pfeiffer for hipping me that you were in town. You know, he's got me some great guests.
Oh, good. And Sanchez is an amazing guest.
Yes.
He's here with us to produce Oh Freedom. Oh Freedom is a fabulous concert that it is the end of our Black History Month programming and also the kickoff of our 50th celebration for the 50th anniversary of the Charles H. Wright Museum. So it is
50 years.
50 years. Can you imagine?
No.
But this city's been amazing to support this institution for 50 years. It is one of the oldest, it is the largest and one of the oldest African American museums in the country. And I think that says tremendous things about the city of Detroit and this community.
Well, I remember years ago when I started teaching, Dr. Wright had this mobile.
Yes.
Yes. And he'd come around, he'd sit on the street. I taught school, so
Yes.
the kids could come out, and there's such a history associated with it. And it's just such a wonderful place. And and you're having Old Freedom with
Patty Austin.
Patty
and-
Austin,
Yeah,
everybody.
Grammy Award-winning Patty Austin, and this performance is in Detroit, but it's been it's an amazing performance that Patty has done in San Francisco, in Memphis, in Nashville, to rave reviews. But we wanted to make this really special for Detroit, so we've added 75 wonderful Detroit voices to this concert. So it will be an amazing concert. Sanchez is a Grammy Award-winning producer and song producer as well. Many artists that when some of the singers came in to the audition to sing, they were singing songs that Sanchez had produced, and they were Grammy Award-winning songs.
That's what I'm saying, because he's no slouch, because I read his resume and everything. Just fabulous. How did you find him?
Well, actually, Sanchez and I worked together years ago at the National Civil Rights Museum. Sanchez produced a fabulous CD for the Civil Rights Museum that included everybody from Patty Austin, Yolanda Adams, Darrell Coley, Sybil Shepherd, you name them. They were probably, a large array of artists on that CD. And it's been a really terrific CD and a fundraiser for the Civil Rights Museum, since 1993. So
Really?
Yes. So he is an amazing person, has been doing lots of work. So when we wanted to do this program, who better to do it than Sanchez?
Right. And so what are part of your job responsibilities with the program, Sanchez?
Well, I'm basically coordinating the music, and it's been such a pleasure working here in Detroit. It's always a pleasure working with Ms. Moore, but working with the choir and so much talent here in Detroit, and everyone is so excited. Patty is excited about it. We have a narrator by the name of Barry Scott, who was one of the co-creators of Old Freedom. And Old Freedom it's really a great journey. It's a journey through the history of African American freedom. Our freedom experience told in song. And we go through 400 years of history in music.
Now, these songs, are they original songs, or are they songs that we know?
A combination. There'll be, music that that you can sing along to, that you can clap to, that you can dance to, that you can hum along with. And who else? Patty will sing every genre of music, and who else can do that better than Patty Austin?
She is fabulous. She's been singing since she was a little girl.
Yes.
Yes. But so we are really, really looking forward to this. I think that the thing for us is that it is our mission to help people understand and learn African American history, and therefore learn American history and the journey. And music can touch us in ways that nothing else can. So what better way to tell that story than through music?
Right, absolutely. And Sanchez, so you've been working with the singers here, the choir, they'll be backing her up, or what? Tell us about it.
Yes, some of the choir will be backing her up, and then at times the choir will be featured. I might add, the choir is under the direction of Dr. Nora Duncan from Wayne State University, and he's
okay.
just such an awesome man.
Yeah, I
I'm
know who he
Yeah,
is.
so
Yeah.
blessed to meet him. And we'll have elements of the Wayne State Jazz Band, and the orchestra from the Detroit Opera House. So it's really
my
a
goodness.
grand event.
Wow, where is this going to take place?
At the Opera House on March 1st at 7 p.m. So you really need to get your tickets and get out there. You will not want to miss this. And if you do, you'll be hearing about it and be so sorry. So you really need to come out.
It's such a grand event because I'm on Facebook, and people have been putting out about it. They're so proud to be in the choir. I have some former students in that choir, as a matter of fact, who were in my plays and musicals when I was teaching, because I
Right.
was drama. Drama is
All
my
right.
thing. Yeah.
Well, you should be on stage with us.
Oh,
And Thornetta Davis will be singing. I mean,
Oh,
we got some.
Thornetta?
Absolutely, we have some amazing local artists as well. It's your students, but also some really fabulous artists.
well,
Marcus
they're
Belgrave.
They're grown folks now.
Yeah.
Marcus
Marcus
is gonna
Belgrave Graves will
Joan is
play.
gonna be-
Joan will be singing. Marcus will be playing. So we have all of these Detroit elements that's in this concert to really make it Detroit. But with some outstanding national talent coming in.
Wow. How can we purchase tickets?
Oh, purchase tickets through the Opera House or through Ticketmaster.
Oh, this is fabulous. And that's March 1st, so
It's
that's
next
a week
Sunday.
from Sunday.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right.
So you got to get those tickets and get out there.
It's here.
It is here.
is
So
here.
I'd like my audience to know that this man, Sanchez, has, been with the Grammys and everything.
He's
are
worked with
just
everyone.
Everybody.
He's worked with the Clark sisters. He's worked with Aretha. He's worked with Mary. He's worked with everybody. You name it, Sanchez has worked with them. And so we are really, really excited
Shirley
to have him
Caesar,
here.
Karen
Yes.
Clark, so many people. And you work with Patty.
Yes.
Yes, you
Yes.
work with Patty.
Patty, when I was in college, Patty was my favorite singer, and just having an opportunity to work with her was the realization of a blessing.
And Sanchez is sort of modest, but he's really has a lot deep Detroit roots. Most of his family is right here in Detroit.
really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So how did you get out of here? I'm just
No.
kidding.
No, my mom was from Detroit, and
Really?
and she has 15 nephews and nieces.
Come back this way.
Come back.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. So I have a plethora of family here, and I've come here a great deal, and always have enjoyed Detroit. And the music here, so much music. And
Oh, so much music history. We are rooted in Michigan. In Detroit especially. With you know what I found out though a few weeks ago, that Al Green is from Michigan.
Really,
Really?
What happened? He went down south to start singing.
and stayed in Memphis.
And stayed in Memphis.
Yes, but he's from I think Grand Rapids or somewhere. He's from Michigan.
Right, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I didn't either, but there's so much talent that came out of here, that comes out of here. And this lady right here, she,
Oh, my goodness.
I just can't say enough about her. I really thank you, and from the community, we want to thank you for everything that you've done to highlight the museum and your staff and everything like
Well, I
that.
thank the community because, we could not do it without the support and efforts of the community. We have amazing volunteers that are in that museum every single day. They're right there for every program. We have the Women's Committee, the Friends Committee, who really work to help us and raise funds for the museum. We have, volunteers that really come in and put together programs, Meet the Scientists, those men that come in, our Liberation Film Series, all of this help we get doing all these amazing programs. So this community has really stood up for this museum, and I know that they would want to be there to kick off the 50th
Oh, yeah,
anniversary.
that's going to be a great event.
Absolutely.
And what time does this start again?
7:00 at the Opera House.
7 o'clock at the Opera House, March 1st, which is a week from this Sunday, but I think you better get your tickets because I'd like to get the good seats. there are no bad seats in Orchestra Hall, but, really, really get some seats so I can be up close and personal.
The Opera House.
The Opera House.
Oh, the Opera House downtown. Oh, yeah, I like that. That's even more intimate.
Yes.
That is going to be great. The Opera House used to be the Grand Circus Park movie theater.
Oh, really?
Yes. I used to go there often. Meet my boyfriend. Anyway,
Well, you'll meet another boyfriend Sunday night.
you hear that, everybody? I'm in for that. But Juanita, I want to thank you. This is really a highlight. We're excited about it, and I think everybody's going to be there. Don't miss it, everybody. Do not miss this event. And thank you so much. And remember, you could get tickets at Ticketmaster and at the museum.
At the Opera House.
Opera House.
Yes.
So none are being sold at the
No,
museum.
Ticketmaster and Opera House.
Ticketmaster and the Opera House. Ticketmaster is easy. You just get on the computer and go. I thank you so much. I've been
Thank
trying
you.
to get you on my show.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. And I will be back anytime you invite me.
Well, she was so good to me when we did the Sweet Trial.
Well, you're an amazing playwright, so we were really pleased. And we still get people talking about that and asking about that.
Well, we got to do something about that.
Yeah, we sure do.
We will down the line. Oh, and tell us anything else that's coming up after this.
Well, we start with Women's History Month. We move right into Women's History Month right after this. So, go on our website, theright.org. and find out all of the great programs that's coming up for Women's History Month. And we have a full. In fact, if you want, just go on or call us, and we will send you a year-long calendar. It's a beautiful calendar. So come on and know that we're going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary all year. So there are going to be wonderful programs throughout the year.
And make sure you get a membership.
Please.
Make sure you get a membership. So thank you all both, and
Thank you.
I can't wait to see the program. And we'll be back in just a moment. We're back. Remember, get your tickets for Oh Freedom with Patty Austin. And by the way, I will get the opportunity to interview Miss Patty Austin next week, 2 days before the performance. So make sure you stick and stay and don't go away. And gentlemen, we are back.
All right.
We
Got
have
kicked to the
some
curb for a
stories.
while, but now we're back.
Huh?
Said we were sitting on the curb for a while. Now we're back.
I know. Well, I've kicked a lot of men to the curb.
I know you have.
Anyway.
Number 1086 and
Anyway.
87.
Yeah, all right. No, I haven't, ladies and gentlemen. No, I haven't. Anyway, Eddie Murphy. A lot of people were disappointed with his appearance on Saturday Night Live's anniversary special. Why wasn't he in a skit? Well, we find out that he wasn't in a skit because the skit they wanted him to do is one where he played Bill Cosby. Yeah. And he used to do that back in the day, and he refused to do that, which I admire. Can you all give your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, he chose not to kick a man while he's down, which I respect that. And not just that, all of the things that's been happening with Bill Cosby was just allegations right now. Nothing's been substantiated at all. There are no charges against him or anything like that. I applaud him for standing up, especially he's another black comedian. He doesn't yell a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Kudos to Eddie for having the resolve to not cave in. Obviously, he knew that it would have been a really popular, or at the very least controversial bit.
Right, because they wanted him behind a bar mixing a drink.
Mixing a drink. Mm-hmm. And I think that in today's society, it's very rare to see a person turn down an opportunity for any more of the light, fame, or what could eventually be some type of prosperity. We know that he's a wealthy man. And so it's refreshing when you see someone who's willing to stand
up
by what they believe in and turn down an opportunity not because it will hurt them personally, but because it'll hurt someone else.
Yeah. And to tell you the truth, it didn't do anything to his brand, not Eddie Murphy, so he didn't lose out on anything. It would just damage more of Bill Cosby's.
Eddie Murphy has more money than Train Smoke,
Yeah.
and he doesn't need that. And he knew it says here that he knew the laughs would probably bring the house down. I wouldn't have laughed if I were in the audience.
Well, I think that it would have brought the house down, because we live in a society that likes to see people go through it.
Yeah.
And they feast and feed off of tragedy.
The German word is Schadenfreude, getting joy from the misery of others.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, again, I think that it was a great thing that Eddie did, but I also think that the fact that it showed some sense of solidarity from one black man to another.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I'm not just going to be bought, and I'm not going to drag this man's his name through any more of the mud, because that's all calculated. In my opinion, it's calculated. Obviously, Eddie did Bill Cosby before. However, it gives a sense of, after all the jokes have stopped, it gives a sense of credibility when it comes from another black man, black comedian, someone who would personally know Mr. Cosby. So the fact that he chose not to do it, I think, is admirable, and I think there's something that a lot of folks can learn from.
And they don't bring out the fact that Eddie Murphy saved Saturday Night Live back in the day, because Lorne Michaels, who created the show, he left for a couple of years. And here was this young comedian. You all were, I don't know if you were born.
I saw the episodes. I went and got them from Blockbuster when I was younger.
I never seen it.
Yeah, I saw.
Well, he did Buckwheat's character.
James Brown, Hot Tub, Celebrity Hot Tub.
Yeah, but he did Looking for Love and all the
In all the wrong places.
And he did Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yes.
He did Gumby. He had a plethora of skits.
Yes.
And I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
tell you, he's just that comic genius. And he doesn't have to. In fact, I would love to see him do some things. I think he's taken some risks with his career. Some paid off and some didn't. He had some franchises with the trading, not trading places, Beverly Hills Cop franchise.
The Clumps.
And they also did
Clumps is big.
The Clumps.
Huge.
Was that the Nutty Professor?
Nutty Professor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew that was I don't. Their name was Clumps.
Sherman.
Okay, and then
The brother's good.
he's very good,
Very
can
tough.
imitate. And coming to America, he
Oh,
played
man.
several characters.
Yeah.
We need part two. We need coming back to America.
Sometime we don't need,
We need
any
it.
more than the first.
But I must agree with you, Chris, in solidarity, especially being an African American man. You know, he didn't need to take any more lumps on the head. I think the media has done a fine job, if it is true. But right now, all of them are just allegations that hasn't been even presented in a court of law. So, I think he rightfully took a back step and was like, "Hey, I'm not going to do this." So that was a good job, and I applaud him for it.
Oh, I applaud him for it too. And Bill Cosby applauded him too. Bill Cosby said he really respects what he did. Bill
Good.
Cosby did have an answer to that. And kudos to Eddie Murphy. Oh, by the way, they're making that other Beverly Hills Cop movie here.
I didn't know that.
Axel
Yeah,
Foley. I
yeah,
like to call him Axel
Really?
Foley.
Oh, wow.
yeah, Axel Foley. Yeah, he's coming back here.
That's good.
Yeah, so maybe you could get a bit part.
Yeah, may do a cameo.
Okay. All right. Detroit City Council has picked a union leader, Janae Ayers, as the council person to take Santel Jenkins' place.
Yes.
What do you all think of the selection process and everything like that? Because I've heard so many different things. That's why I put this on the list.
Well, I think the process went well. I think that they need to take another stab at the city charter because they had an opportunity to do a special election this coming up May with the statewide election, and they could have put the candidates on there, but they elected because of the city charter says, hey, you have to present another council member after X amount of days. They had to go that route. Now, with the final selection, I think Janae is a good person.
Do you know her?
I don't know her personally like that, but I have spoken with her on several occasions. Now, I would have loved to see myself in that position. As you all
yes,
know, that
you were
was
one
a
of the
candidate too.
finalists,
I was
yeah.
one of the 16 finalists, but they selected Janae Ayers. She's the vice president of the AFL-CIO, and I think she worked at the casino. And she's the final selection, and she was sworn in the same day that she had the interview. So,
I heard that she was Brenda Jones and Cushionberry's candidate.
well, Cushionberry, he always wanted a woman in there. I think a lot of them wanted a woman because a woman had left, and that's one of his whole deals was he was trying to promote Humphreys, former Judge Humphreys, and she didn't get it, so he naturally selected Janae Ayers as the next.
A woman to take a woman's place.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I think that overall, the focus should be, moving forward. Obviously, council is kind of just now getting back to full strength with the ability to act at the capacity which they have authority, and I think that pretty much it went well in the sense that there was not a fiasco. Detroit has kind of got lumps for just not being able to get through things without anything newsworthy and things like. And I think that it went relatively smoothly. I mean, honestly, the quieter the better with regard to something like this. And I think that it went efficiently. And I think now she has a little bit of time to see what what she offers to the citizens of the city of Detroit. And so that's going to be interesting.
But she's going to have to run.
Yeah.
That's going to be even more interesting because she doesn't have that much of a name. Now she has to probably do something big over this next year to help promote herself to the general body, to the general public,
And raise
during
money.
and I think she's a
She'll
part
be
of the
all right.
union. She's
Yeah, she'll
gonna
be
be
all right.
okay in a monetary category, but having that name translate amongst the community is going to be key. In which she could possibly do it, but there could be someone else out there that's ran before that can strongly challenge her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think the media I won't say it did a great job. They did a job where they actually looked up
E.L.
the records
Elric.
of M.L.
Yeah.
Eric,
Yeah.
actually looked up the records of several individuals. And not to say that it was fair, but well, they're part of the media, and they're supposed
Well,
to.
when you put yourself out there, you're up for the scrutiny of
Yeah.
the public.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of good people don't run because they don't want people all in their
All in their
business.
business, yes.
Well, good thing is, no new surprises about my buddy Rob. Good guy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
that's-
clean individual, so it's okay.
That's
Pretty
what they
transparent.
think. That's what they think. But okay, we have an article about Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert, he's trying to get some of the state fairgrounds, put some stuff up there, and also, Magic Johnson's little consortium is there doing a redevelopment also. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Dan Gilbert, I don't mind people with money buying things, but we had a discussion on my first show with Sebastian Jackson, and we were talking about people coming into the city and they're trying to change the culture and not taking advantage of the rich culture, and that's where a lot of the clashes come from.
I think that Mr. Gilbert is a very, very aggressive business person. I had the opportunity to listen to him speak one time, and to piggyback off what you said, he's very big on culture in private business, and I would imagine that philosophy would transfer to the different initiatives or projects he's doing in the city. It
I
does.
don't know, though. I don't know.
But I don't say. I'm not saying the existing culture. I'm saying his culture.
Right.
He would like to. He has a culture of success, of whatever works for him, and so I believe that he's trying to redefine. But it's a little eerie to me. It's a little, I don't know, weird to me that, I mean, it's like Detroit is monopoly. It was all the way open to be bought, and everybody's got a chance to roll, but no one's buying any property, the valuable property, but Mr. Gilbert, and other people have opportunity.
Yeah.
And so it leads me to be a little bit suspicious as to why other individuals who have the means aren't capitalizing as freely or as readily as Mr. Gilbert.
I'm going to agree with you on that part. And I tell people all the time, scared money don't make money. There are a lot of people out here with money to do certain types of development. I'm referring to African Americans, but they won't partner up.
That's
And
what
they
we were
backbite
talking
all the
about, too, this
time.
morning.
And, it's a lot of stuff that they do that's, harmful for us. They won't partner together. Now, Marvin Beatty and
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, several of them have partnered up and say, hey, we're going to do this development. Now Dan Gilbert wants in.
Right.
And I think it's
Excuse me, we have
it's great that he's becoming a part of that project.
We have a call. We have Marcia on the line. Good morning.
Hello, Marcia.
Good morning. I really enjoyed the show. Well, I think that Mr. Gilbert, Dan Gilbert is a visionary with money.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is what has happened. We got wealthy people in our family and in the neighborhood. The churches are wealthy, but they don't have a vision. And a man and a woman without a vision loses sight. So he's a visionary. I heard the mayor say that he came in and out the restaurant. He saw black people standing around the corner, waiting on the buses. When he went in the restaurant, when he came back, he said, I can do something about that. A man without a vision. They had business. And what has happened in Detroit, you all black people lost their vision. So let's not. I openly I'm glad that that he has a man with a vision to make this a better city, and he got a vision. So don't ever lose your vision. You all need to come together, put your money and things together, and like the brother just said,
Yes, that's what
stop
we're
having
saying.
shared money. You have to come. One person can't do it, but Dan Gilbert has a group of people that got a vision together, and they acting on it, and we don't act on our vision, and that's why we lose sight.
And I've heard
Thank
of this. Was about 2 years ago, and before the Myers opened up. I mean, those were black developers that helped Myers and the rest of those retail stores pop up. Those same guys are now going around the corner on State Fairgrounds. I mean, they're ponying up their money. Dan Gilbert just so happened to be interested in it. It's a lot of land here. It's a lot of opportunity to make money.
Interesting. Also, they're talking about putting residential there.
Yeah.
It borders the suburb. It's
Right.
not just that. It borders Palmer Woods, another affluent African American neighborhood. I mean, you have money in that area. You can make money off of those types of projects, and it's a lot of a lot of land to be bought, to be cultivated. If more African Americans get out there and put their money in the pool and become more partners instead of backbiting, those types of projects can be lifted off his feet.
Very true. We were talking about that on my first show. That we can form consortiums. Let's get together and let's buy this. It's almost, for some people, it's almost like crabs in a barrel.
Yeah.
People don't want to, they don't want to get involved with somebody else because they may get ahead of them or something like that.
I think that's definitely the case and has been a serious problem, not only in Detroit, but in the African American community, especially in the United States. But I also think that there is a perception of second tier, maybe even third tier, when black developers present ideas versus individual like Dan Gilbert. I think that the media plays a huge part in it, and I think that there's a fanfare, there's a momentum that people support Mr. Gilbert more than they would support a group of African American developers, even if they came with a credible plan. And I think that now you have a snowball effect that Mr. Gilbert, rightfully so, is capitalizing on. But I think that it would be negligent for us to not mention the fact that there are black businessmen who are and have been continued to invest in the city, but they don't get nearly the attention or fanfare that Mr. Gilbert has garnered.
But like I say, on top of that, they don't want. Like I say, a lot of developers don't want that type of attention either. It's just that Dan Gilbert's name is translated amongst Detroit for so long.
Right, and he's kind of untouchable.
He's like a rock star.
He's not a person that you would see every day because he has bedrock,
Yeah.
and he has that's his real estate arm, and they are all over. He has
And
people.
I'm going to remind you that is primarily was an African American development in the first place. Now he's want to become a part of that project. They ran that. So those minds
I've got
did
great
come
respect
together
for
and
Mr.
to
Beatty
put that project in place. Now he wants a part of it because he can make a lot more money.
What I'm speaking to is that maybe about 15 years ago, somewhere around there, there was a Detroiter, a wealthy Detroiter by the name of Don Barton, and he had great vision, as the caller alluded to, for the city of Detroit when Detroit was not nearly as popular or anything like that. And I can remember him getting resistance, not only from the media, from the city as an institution, but also from the citizens. It's because they almost didn't trust a black man. And so we can't have it both ways. We can't say, well, we need to come together and this and that. But when a black man of means, because Mr. Barton was very, very wealthy.
It's unfortunate.
He had the means to do it, and he took his money elsewhere. And there's other wealthy and prominent individuals, black men and women, who have decided, you know what, the climate isn't as acceptable in the Detroit region for blacks to come in and do certain things as it is other places. So they say, I'll take my money elsewhere.
I'm going to say this again. There has been property downtown or near downtown that they've let go into almost ruin. And I know people who tried to buy that property, but the owners would not sell because they were waiting for this day. And then they have sold it. You know, some of them sold it, some of them are redeveloping it. And my thing is just let's be fair. But you know, when you have these big consortiums like Dan Gilbert, you know, and I applaud him for what he's
Oh yeah,
doing.
absolutely.
I applaud him for what he's doing, but then again, I've heard so many horror stories too. And I'm just,
Well, Detroit, if you're thinking about what Detroit can be and what we'd all want it to be, you're talking about diversity, not only in people, language, but also culture, philosophy, and also the individuals who help shape this city. Now, Mr. Gilbert, while he's not a political individual, he yields a certain type of power because of the financial footprint that he's put himself back in the city. I think that it is naive for us to think that it is not borderline dangerous if we allow a person to have that large of a, not allow, but just if a person has that large of an imprint, it's balance. It's always about balance. And so I think that, yeah, we're all on that Dan Gilbert train.
Yeah.
However, you know, absolute power, what do you say, corrupts absolutely. So, you know, we just want to, you know, I think that it would be wise to keep in mind. And I think that a lot of this comes because we're just tired of seeing just it being bad in some instances. So anybody, we're like, you know what? Yes, more power to you.
Yeah,
However, I think you need to, you know.
I agree with you on that part, but I must say that if he has the money and the means to make a project, and not just make a project that works, then so be it. And I think anyone with that type of pooling of money, albeit them being African American or not African American, they need to take advantage of that. Now, what we need to do is press individuals that do have that type of capital to go out there to the forefront and do those same types of investment. I'm not going to shun anybody for, you know, making an investment, and not just an investment, investment that works.
No. I'm not. I don't have anything against Dan Gilbert. However, my point is making the atmosphere comfortable. There could be a restaurant that will serve anyone, but they may look at a black man differently when he come in there. They'll take his money and serve him, and eventually he'll get a meal and go home fed. However, when he's in there, he could feel uncomfortable. I'm saying, is the city of Detroit doing everything to make African American investors feel just as comfortable as they are for Dan Gilbert? And,
you know, I think that's going to come with the people in Detroit, though. I'm not sure about what the city and the city officials can do about that. They have a platform to really speak to those types of issues of racial inequities, and racial injustices too. But you know, it's going to really take the community as a whole to figure that one out,
And
especially
I
folks
just
coming from the
don't think-
suburbs and other states.
I don't think black people should shrink
Yeah.
from going downtown and doing things and all of that and having a good time and letting people know they're there. I just think it's so unfortunate that so many of the businesses are closing down.
And we're going to get to that one.
Yeah, we're going to talk
some
about
of them
that.
should
We're going to
close.
get
Some
to
of them, it's about time.
Hold on. We'll talk about that in just a moment. I can't stand Geraldo Rivera, but he said something that was resonating. He said that hip hop has been very destructive for black people.
I think that's crazy. Now there are different forms of hip hop, but you can't just blast hip hop itself and say those types of words. There's a lot of artists out there. There are a lot of artists out there that are doing a great job. They're great musicians. They don't denigrate the community. For him to say hip hop, especially, you know, you got to see where the origination and the birth of hip hop was.
First things, and this Ben Chavis told me this, that hip hop is the biggest musical influence in the world.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's all over Germany, Japan, no matter what. It's the biggest one. So, you know, not a whole bunch of black people over in some of those places.
I
But
looked at a video yesterday of one of the Arabian princes, and believe it or not, he was, you know, making it rain, literally, on folks. And I'm like, whoa, you know, where is he getting this from? It's the hip hop culture.
I'm telling
it's
you.
a great influencer. I was shocked to see this.
Yeah.
But he's dead wrong for that.
I think that he was wrong in the way he stated it. I think that as a conscious black man, I see what's wrong with hip hop. And I've seen it for a while, and I've been disappointed. As a matter of fact, some of the core individuals have been disappointed in hip hop. Nas, in particular, said hip hop is dead. You know, Jay-Z has mentioned that, hey, I wish I could rap like Common, but that ain't what sell. And so I think that Geraldo, while he was speaking to a point, he would have to make a broader statement and say that television is culturally destructive, that the internet is culturally destructive, that
Twitter is
Twitter, that Hollywood is culturally destructive. And I think that what hip hop reflects is the society that we live in. I think that there are, like anything else, hip hop is a smorgasbord, so to speak, and you can pick and choose whatever you are attracted to. In today's day and age, people are attracted to club music, twerk music, and stuff that isn't as intellectually stimulating or based upon, like, you know, the community. Like when we came up, I remember Self-Destruction. I remember, you know, the West Coast version of that, and it was where hip hop stood for something. However, today it stands for, you know, throwing money, as much money as you can at another individual and getting as many face tattoos or whatever.
And I think it's a different genre of hip hop too. I mean, there's different types of elements, and that's the element that you're speaking of right now, Making It Rain. That's part of the negativity that's attached to it, but it's popular, and not just African Americans listen to that.
Yeah,
white people listen to it. Yes. Europeans, Asians. Everybody listens to it.
At the top of the hip hop community are the execs, which are not, the majority of them are not African American, unfortunately, still. And so while you want, it's easy to say that these rap guys, listen, these execs see hundreds of artists that they can handpick and make them into a star. They choose to pick the ones that will reflect the message that they want promoted. And so they bear as much to blame as, well, even more so to blame, because a lot of these folks who are speaking or rapping this stuff, that's all they know. These execs, they would never play this or allow their kids to do, you know, some of the things that they are promoting upon, amongst the hip hop community.
I just hate the fact that he painted a broad brush.
Well, Geraldo's an idiot, like Brenda said.
I'm telling you, I just think he's a little man.
This is a guy who went in a vault on national TV.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a little man with a big head who tries to, he wants to stay relevant, and he does it. Part of that is that's what it is.
And that's truly what it is, making incendiary remarks.
Okay, another quick story. Ray J got beat up by his girlfriend.
Listen,
she cracked his ribs, busted his lip, and he had a torn ACL. But he bailed her out.
I just got one question for that. Where they do that at? I don't see how that happened. But if the brother took a back seat to a beating, then so be it. He didn't do anything about that.
A couple things. I see that this is clever marketing by VH1 or whoever is behind these shows, because no doubt this is going to make for some interesting TV, and they're laying it out. Nah, I don't for once believe that this story has credibility.
But she cracked his ribs.
Yeah, she did. Sure, she did. And then he went and bailed her out. So I think this is a made-for-TV event.
It has to be.
However, and to speak on something more serious, the response from individuals who have a strong stance on domestic violence, what will their
I haven't heard hardly anything.
Because it's not taken seriously the
because
other way around.
Because it's just the opposite. A woman beating a man versus a man beating a woman.
It's still looked at as funny.
Well, it's not. People think it's not supposed to happen. So
society, it's looked at as hilarious. It's looked at. I mean, that has been a skit from as long.
How can a woman that small overpower a man of his stature?
Body blows, rib shots.
Well,
but he's still going to overpower her, regardless.
And
that's just crazy to think that she actually whooped him up like that.
But I can see what the show is doing, and I can see that
he has a show.
He is on Love and Hip Hop. I believe he's on part of. he's trying to stay relevant. Geraldo's trying to stay relevant. All these folks are doing whatever they can.
See how
That's
that ties
why,
in?
going back to Eddie Murphy, it's so impressive that he didn't do it, because a lot of these people are willing to do anything. And you think, oh, this person is already wealthy. Why do they have to, But I won't see what happens with Ray J, because I just refuse to watch those shows. Occasionally, I went through and I've seen a little bit, and it's juicy. But I make sure that I don't watch a full episode. I don't
You
want to.
DVR it.
No, I
You
do not.
DVR it.
I do not want to see that.
Well, good luck to Ray J and that girl, because it seems like they're in a cycle of abuse. The fact that she abused him, he bailed her out, that's that cycle. That's that cycle. We just had it for a little bit, but we're not always like that. Real quick, do you think it's racist to ask black businesses and others in downtown and midtown to pay more or vacate the property?
No. Well, one thing, I don't think it's racist. I think it's more of a class than anything else. It just has elements of race attached to it, because you have African Americans down there that's been down there for over 20 to 30 years. Now they're being asked to move. They've been holding Detroit down for decades, and now you're going to tell them, hey, I'm raising the rent now. It's
but
crazy.
when a person buys a place, they have that option.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
They have the option, but this is where you use your political platform and tell these guys, hey, you exercise that option. Yeah, but later on, when we have an opportunity to exercise our option, it won't happen. You got to,
But politics is influenced by
fairly.
capital, by money.
Yeah,
So
but play fairly. It's crazy.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. That's why
I think it's time for some of them wig shops and places that.
But these aren't the wig shops. These are, just like I think we was on a show a couple of weeks ago, where you had a restaurant that opened up.
Oh
less
yeah,
than a
that
year
was
ago.
crazy. Mo
Yeah,
Better
but
Blues.
he,
Better
whichever
Blues.
one who spent the $250,000, you don't spend that to fix up somebody else's property. You could buy something. Oh, and we have about a minute left.
But that's not as uncommon as some people would think when they lease a property and then they invest heavily to renovate it to their liking. I think that is totally unfair. What I was speaking to is folks with a business model that has not changed in 30 years. And when you look in there, they probably got the same wig on the mannequin they had 30 years ago. So those type of business, I think they need a little bit of incentive to either start upgrading your business,
a lot
or
of business things are going to be happening to help minorities stay in business, and we got some other ideas that I don't have time to talk about today. Our time went so fast.
But
I didn't know.
that class issue can turn into a race issue, because you're moving out the blacks and you're moving in whites and other folks.
but also people will make it a race issue because you just can't afford to rent.
Yeah.
And sometimes you
It
make
ain't-
mistakes.
But that's inequity.
Yeah.
They don't have the equity to hold that place down.
That's part
So,
of business.
yeah.
But we got to go. We got to go. Everybody, thank you for joining us today for Table Talk. Thank you, Henry Tyler. Thank you, RJ. Everybody. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie Murphy.
See you next week.